bags under my eyes. What is that? I have baggy eyes. Oh. That's not good. Well, I have baggy eyes because I don't fucking sleep correctly. I can't sleep at night anymore. Well, I was never a night sleeper anyway, but night to me is 4 in the morning. I usually sleep till 4, and then lately I get up around 8, so I get like 3 hours. If that's the correct math. I was just listening to someone talk about Donald Trump and how the perception of him has changed among voters. And I'm glad that he's president. I think he's hilarious. I did enjoy some of the Joe Biden stuff too. You know, he was fun for a while. But I'm glad Trump is back in. Just because, I mean, I don't really like the guy. He's a Satan-worshipping game show host. He doesn't do the kid stuff, but he belongs to the Saturn-worshipping cult. And that's another video. The point is, he brings a lot of entertainment value, mainly because of his enemies. The people that hate him, they get crazy about that guy. Because, as I've talked about before, it's a spell. It's all spellcraft. We as a population are under the influence of basically what I would refer to as black magic. Other occultists would tell you, no, there's no such thing. The enlightened man is beyond good and evil. Hey, I got a kid in my basement. You know, I'm beyond good and evil. That's all. That's the only reason they say shit like that. But every president is a spellcaster. They're casting a spell that is worked up by the people behind the scenes who you'll never see and we don't really know anything about. It's like a who's who of fucking evil people. Yeah, there are some Jews in there. Yeah, there are some lizard people in there. Yeah, there are, but it's mainly down to bloodline lizard people. Maybe they're the same thing. It's down to bloodlines, these ancient bloodlines that have ruled the world. And they're spellcasters. They use black magic. There was a time centuries ago when magic, religion, and the sciences were all kind of one thing. You know, it was all sort of just, you know, one fucking thing. They separated all three of those things, and they took magic completely off the table. And there's even parts in the Bible that Christians really cling to about the evils of divination, which to me is absolute horseshit, because Jesus was a spellcaster. He was a magician. You know, what do you think the fucking miracles were? And so are we. He was telling us, you can do it, you can do it. Or Matthew in the boat is an example. Anyway, let me get back on fucking track here. So they're spellcasters, you know. They don't work the spells, they just deliver them through speech. And a lot of the problems you're seeing now with this racial disharmony was started by Obama. One of his big spells was to bring back racism, which, and this is hard to understand for younger people, but this contentious sort of situation between blacks and whites and browns and all different kinds of people didn't exist before. I grew up in the 1980s. I mean, I was born in the 70s, but a lot of that part of my life has been sclopamine. Took care of that. I'm going to make you forget what happened drug. But the 80s, I remember pretty well. And in my area, I lived in a suburb of Boston, about 20 miles outside, maybe longer. Well, it took me 20 miles because I drive like a lunatic, but probably maybe like 35 minutes outside of Boston, up north towards New Hampshire. So I was in a pretty nice, like, it was a working class neighborhood, but it was nice. I mean, everybody had their own houses and their own stuff. Everybody had a car. Your friends' parents were together. You know, they were all together. I didn't know anyone that had a single parent. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one or two I'm not thinking of. But, yeah, and it was just all white people. There was one black kid in the first grade, and no one cared that he was black. In fact, I don't even think anyone ever talked about it. Even when he wasn't around, hey, Sean's black. No, we could see that he was black. No one gave a fuck. And I would even go further beyond that. Later in the 80s, when I got a little bit older, we had gay people around. I had gay neighbors. No one gave a fuck. No one cared. You know, Nancy and Mona are married like mom and dad are. They're just both women. Oh, okay. That was it. No one cared. None of this was a thing. You know, it just wasn't a thing. Now, granted, like I was saying, we didn't have many black people or gay people around to really butt up against each other, as definitely it would have happened, I think, if there were more. But there was a time in this country when it was, you know, it was mainly a white country before they started bringing people in. The inner cities, you know, always have black people. And there's always trouble in the inner cities. Mainly them hurting each other. I mean, shit that still goes on in, like, Chicago and Philly. You talk about mass murder. There's mass murder going on every night in those fucking cities. You just don't hear about it, though, because, you know, black people, and they're just like, whatever. They kill each other anyway. The fucking media only cares about them when they need them to flood a city and burn it down. When there's something happening to their community, they don't give a fuck, usually. That's how it is, but whatever. But there was, as I got older, right, into my teens, I was in the city more. I was in bands. I was seeing more people, and I got to know every kind of person. And I worked in bands and music with black people, hired some black people, almost married a black person. Although I'm not sure how serious you were about it. I think we were just kind of trying to shock people, but you know, could have happened. Black people all around me, gay people all around me. I don't mean to wedge gays into this, because I mean that's my group too. I'm not gay, but I'm in the LGBT group. That's a long story, though. It's a long story. You know, I wasn't really, I don't know, just fucking reel this back together. Barack Obama, when he became president in 2008, his spell to cast was racism. And like, and I watched it happen too. And I told this story 100 times. I'm sorry to people that have been here with me for years. I really appreciate you guys. I love talking to you, getting to know you. But I feel like this is pertinent to retell the story of what I saw, because I was alive when it happened. I watched it in real time. Everybody votes for him. You know, everybody I know. I wasn't voting at that time because I already had figured out what voting was in 2008. You know, oh shit, I just spilled coffee on the floor. It's not good. I just ripped up all the rugs in here because we're putting in new rugs. That's not your problem though, that's mine. But the, I'm gonna wipe this up. Online. Yeah, you fucking know it. So, he became president, and one of the first things he made a big deal about in his speeches there when he first came in was how upset some people probably are that he is president because he's a black man. And like, nobody knew what the fuck he was saying, because like everyone voted for him. He was like, I thought it was weird. He's trying to create some kind of narrative that he got put in against all odds, and the evil whites were trying to keep him out or something. It's fucking bizarre, because he would never gotten the vote off just the black vote. There's not enough black vote. Then there wasn't enough. There's probably enough now. There's enough in my neighborhood now to fucking vote him in. But back then it was just like you needed the whole still mainly white America to vote for you. Although the Latinos were certainly building up esteem in the U.S. Because Europeans can't have their own place. It's how it is, you know. It's whatever. You got to deal with that. But he's like on the fucking Dias. What is that thing that they stand there that tell speeches? It always looks like the wall. Fucking Live Aid guy at the wall. You know what I'm talking about. He was like, Michael and I have noticed a lot of people very unhappy. A black man is president. And we're like, what? No, we voted for you. Not me, because I didn't vote for him. But like, they had cooked up this racism spell. They need chaos, right? They need chaos in these times. And they knew they were cruising into the end of days. All the end of day stuff started popping up after 9/11. That was the road to the end of days. Now, are they recreating the biblical end of days? Yes. But just because they're creating it, does that mean it's not the end of days? It's like the opposite of that I was just pretending to be retarded thing. Like, yeah, you may have been pretending to be retarded, but the net effect is that you still look retarded. So it's the same thing. It's like, even though they're recreating the conditions that are conducive or have historically been associated with the end times, does that mean it's still not the end times? I don't know. So I would say it's the end time. I mean, whatever. That's not the issue. Why do I bring up questions that I'm not asking? We're not talking about that. So he created this racism thing, and it started percolating. We started seeing more division because of this. I know it set Anthony Cumia off, because in the news there was all this stuff about black people saying, oh, it's finally our time to get this and get that, and talking about all these problems you have with white people now that they weren't saying before Obama. It was just like, now our guys, and now it's your turn to see how it feels. Like, we know you guys felt that way. We were all cool before this guy. And that led Anthony Cumia into being a white nationalist. He's not a white nationalist. He's just a funny old Italian man. But he was always like that. He was it's funny though with the Anthony thing. I don't know if you know Anthony Cumia is. I assume most of you guys do. But when he first started going off about the race stuff, so many people just thought of him as a pariah. And now he's attracting a lot of attention on YouTube because it's all people that are seeing his videos and being like, yes. This fucking push for racial disharmony, it's made black people crazier, and it's made white people legitimately more racist. I hesitate to use the word racist because it's a Trotsky term. It doesn't really even mean anything. It's just another word that our small-headed friends cooked up so that if we try to object to what's being done to us, they can hit us in the head with it. That's all it is. But, yeah, so now we have this situation that's really crazy. I mean, you hear people all the time talking about, like, some kind of race war. Well, I hear people talking about it. Maybe you don't, I do. That would, of course, never happen. I don't know how that would happen. But there's a lot of anger on both sides. And for what? Like, what really transpired between black people and white people? What, the Floyd thing? No. Any of those things where someone gets killed, I don't know. I mean, I'm not black, but if I was a young black kid, I would be thinking, fuck. I could see everybody robbing this fucking Foot Locker downtown. Like, fuck it, I'm getting Foot Locker too. Who cares? Thanks, George Floyd. I don't know if they really care about the fake psyop that was anyway. But, yeah, it's, he just, to bring this all back to what the fuck I wanted to talk about, presidents cast spells. Obama's spell was racism. Trump's spell the first time was what made everybody go crazy. And gave people TDS. What he was meant to do was to sort of galvanize an anti-Trump base. For what purpose, I don't know. But it made people crazy so that maybe in the future they would be more weaponized. I think, if I thought about it for 5 minutes before I pushed record, I would probably have a better thing to explain the Trump spell. I did a video about the Trump spell, so as far as I'm concerned, it's settled science. But listening to this thing on the just now, the show just now, I was reminded that presidents cast spells, and they do it with speaking. They're spellcasters, they're talkers. These when they address people, that's what they're doing. They're casting spells, and some of these spells change the world. They take hold in different ways. It's just a reminder. I think most of us know that anyway. But you know, oh shit, Nia's calling me. I'll see you soon. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.